Fhatuwani. I just want to say thank you so much, firstly, for joining us for Curate, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, fantastic. Fhatuwani, I just wanted to ask you, I know you as Innocent, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
people know you as Innocent. And then, of course, your artist name would be Fhatuwani. Am I correct with saying that?
It's right and wrong, but so both are my names. I used to go by Innocent a lot, and then when I was growing up, I realized that there's so much power in my African name, and that's what I need to go by. But I love both names, so but one is what I prefer right now.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Sure.
We're very excited to be talking to you, to be having this interview, this conversation.
Thank
I just like to highlight what makes you so interesting is the fact that you're very different to, the typical artists with the way that they've kind of blossomed into the artists that they are.
I think what's amazing about you as an artist is it's very difficult to categorize you because you seem to express yourself artistically in so many different channels. I mean, if we look at your Instagram account, which is pretty amazing, you've got over 5,000 posts, almost 42,000 followers. But
Yeah.
what struck
Wow.
me as I started sort of looking at your post is how eclectic artistically the content is. You've got your drawings, you've got a lot of photography, you've got fashion, you've got design work.
Yeah.
Artistically, you express yourself in so many different fields,
Yeah.
which is kind of amazing. And I wanted to hear your approach to, would you consider yourself then to be sort of a fine artist in the traditional sense?
Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words. I like to call myself a man of many talents. So I don't box myself to anything. I just express myself with anything that I am able to express myself with. So I used to be an art director in advertising, which requires you to be visually strong. You must be able to design. You must be able to see beauty in things, and like just all around art direction. And that taught me how to package things in an aesthetically beautiful way. So I discovered photography through my journey in art direction, in advertising. So I believe that there's many ways a person can express themselves in, and they shouldn't box themselves to one medium. As I'm gonna venture into sculpting. I'll venture into maybe beat making, playing drums, because I just feel like art is what is you must just express yourself and play. What I'm doing is I'm having fun and I'm playing and discovering myself in it.
I mean, that's great. That's wonderful, and you can see definitely that sort of playful, artistic inclination in your work.
Thank
And I'm
you.
glad you brought up photography because you seem to have a preference for portraits. You seem to, draw a lot of portraits, and there's almost like a photographic portraiture
Yeah.
element that comes through in there. So, could you talk to us a little bit about why you gravitate towards portraits?
I feel like I love how much power eyes have, like the eyes of a person. When you take photos, there's so much storytelling in someone's eyes. And I find myself attracted to that, or more into wanting to capture someone's eyes and you can see their soul. That's why I always gravitate to portraits. And I'm trying to unlearn that and draw more environment stuff, because I'm also trying not to be a one-trick pony where my photography style is also getting into my art style, my fine art style. But yeah, I just like to challenge myself. But there's so much power in someone's eyes, and that's one thing that captures me all the time when I draw.
Yeah, I mean, you go quite close into the sitter, and do you always know the sitter? I mean, are you who your subject matters? Are they always Are there people that you know, or how are you inspired to find your subject matters?
So some I take photos of, some it's a mashup of what I find online. Some it's also a mashup of what I have in my imagination and then a reference of myself. So I would maybe take a photo of myself looking that way, and then I'll just reimagine everything that's not like me, you know. So it's constantly playing around. What I do, I just play around. There's a lot of things you can find online to help or use as references in a sensitive way, in a way that it does not also insult whoever that took the photo. So you must try and make it your own in the best way possible.
And technique wise, you seem to play with a lot of different techniques. There's you sometimes use like flat planes of color in sort of like you mix kind of geometric motifs and design with your portraits. Sometimes you focus quite a lot on charcoal. Have you gone through quite a lot of experimentation, obviously, with your art?
Um, so I used to really love pencil. That was my main thing to go for. And then I then wanted to scale up and work on bigger pages, bigger canvases. And I realized that pencils can't really give you that. You can work on a bigger page with the pencil, but it's gonna take forever. And I'm so obsessed with working fast, you know. I used to do like speed drawing, like test myself. How quick can I draw a portrait? Can I draw a portrait in 20 minutes or something like that? So I got to a place where I was bored of pencil, and then I wanted to play more. I got charcoal, which was the most amazing. It's a delicate thing to play with. I'm still new in charcoal, but I'm enjoying that I'm now conquering it. I feel like now we have a good relationship. And then I just did my first actual brush painting, which I've never done. It was scary and intimidating for me to start doing that, but it came out really good. And you know, when you're working on a canvas, you're very close to it. You don't see um, much of it unless you walk back. And when I walked back and I saw the strokes, it looked so good. And I was so chuffed with myself that, oh, okay, cool, I've got a new technique or style coming, you know? So yeah, I'm constantly discovering myself in all these mediums.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, it definitely shows that you're not afraid to experiment and be artistic. And another thing that really struck me with your work is that often you comment, you kind of
Yeah,
you make commentary when you post your work. So there was a work, for example, of sort of a young woman, and you can see the back of her head and her hair
yeah,
and against an orange background. And when you posted it, you quoted, you said, "I'm not my hair, I'm not the skin, I'm a soul that lives within."
yeah.
And
Um, yeah,
yeah, if you comment a bit on that, I think that was really beautiful.
thank you. I'm also quite influenced by words. I like to listen to what people say, and people say a lot of profound things without knowing. And if someone around me says that, I quickly write it down and I use it as a, a start for an idea or something to build on to start. Let's say if I want to draw a portrait, I'll have those words as a base for me to get the emotion in the portrait I'm drawing, you know. Or if I read something and I find it very profound, I put it aside and then I use it as a base, or as, what do they call it, as a foundation for my for the piece I'll be working on.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So, with you saying that, clearly what I'm picking up is that you're saying that you're getting influenced, by the community, by the people directly linked to you, by the people you love. Could you just tell us more about who influences you, to create these beautiful artwork? Who
Yeah.
inspires
uh,
you?
I'm quite blessed to have amazing people around me. My business partners are one of the most talented people I've ever met in the world, and they like to downplay themselves. You know Vuyo Keth. So Vuyo is one talented person. He inspires me a lot because he is also multi disciplined. He knows how to express himself in many ways. He's an amazing vocalist, and when we're working, he also thinks outside the box. So when I'm doing stuff or when I'm just being, I'm very aware of my surrounding and I'm conscious of what's happening. And I always find that Vuyo and Neo and Deji and some of the guys in my office, they're quite talented and they don't see, sometimes they downplay it. And it gives me fire to keep on going. It gives me fire to want to be the best. My twin brother is very talented, and it's also just natural. And that also gives me the fuel to keep on creating and enjoy and discover myself, because these people around me are constantly creating and expressing themselves in the best way possible and natural. So yeah, that really inspires me. And my community, Soweto, especially where I'm from, it's so rich with information, with inspiration. When I'm driving down my street going to see my mom, I feel like I'm just looking at a movie. There's so many photos, and I feel like I should just take a photo of that and draw it. Sometimes I just go, you know what? It's also just good to let it be. You know, my mother as well, very, very, very inspirational person. She's quite artistic and humble. She inspires me to be the person I am. She's like, she's molded me to be what I am and also remain grounded. If I feel like maybe I'm getting too hyped up, I remember what my mom says about hype, or that I must always remain her child to anyone. I mustn't try and be something that I'm not.
And that's interesting. So did you obviously have you based in Johannesburg.
Yes.
Soweto and Joburg are obviously very deep rooted in your
Yeah.
sense of culture. You make
Yeah.
a lot of references, obviously to what's happening around you, and you're very involved sort of in contemporary life. What, for our listeners that don't know that much about, what it was like to grow up in Soweto and what Joburg is like, how would you sort of summarize that?
I think I was very fortunate to be born in my family and in the neighborhood I grew up in. There's so much talent there, and I think also being from humble beginnings helped me be the person that I am today, because not like growing up without like remote cars, playstations and all that stuff helped me be creative. It helped me solve everything that entertained me creatively. So we'd have brick cars, and if you have a brick car and you're pushing it like that and it's like smooth, you imagine it to be a Porsche or a Ferrari and all of that stuff. So my imagination was always running wilder because I don't have those things. I have to imagine them. When I play games or we're looking at magazines, you choose the car that you want, and you're like, that's mine, and that's so it just helps your imagination to be amazing. And the culture here is crazy. It's amazing. There's so much richness of like art. Dance is amazing. Fashion is on another level. From my childhood, like everyone was fashionable around me. My grandfather was fashionable. The guy opposite my house was fashionable. Also art. I grew up with people creating stuff around me. Making wire cars. Sculptures with wires. All those things. I grew up around them, and they molded me to be the person I am. And Josie is, it's just rich with culture. If you want to understand the people of South Africa, I think the best place to go is Josie, and you'll understand the heartbeat of South Africa.
I think that's really beautiful. And yeah, I love that. I mean, Joburg is a very interesting place. I was born and raised in Joburg, and it definitely has a very strong pulse, like a very loud heartbeat.
Yeah.
Are you involved with the community, or I know you're interested in potentially maybe doing some murals or working with the community and where you came from. Have you got any exciting projects, Joburg-based projects coming up?
Yeah, I have a very exciting Joburg based project with I See a Different You with my business, where we are gonna start this school photo project where we'll teach kids how to take photos of themselves, school photos, because most schools in Soweto don't get like school photos. I don't have my primary school photos and up till high school, and I feel like it's a very big thing for most people to have. I mean, in this age, if kids are still not getting those portraits of themselves in school where they can show to their kids later in life, it's also good to capture and preserve that type of time. And the project is gonna be teaching kids to take photos themselves. We're gonna partner with the camera brand, and we will give them those school photos back. Where it will also help them to not be like me, where I don't have my school photo. I wish I had. Imagine if I had my school photo, it would be cool. And you need to capture those things. It's quite important. So that's the project we are getting involved in at the moment.
Oh, amazing. And you mentioned, just for our listeners, you mentioned your business, I See a Different You,
Yeah.
which has obviously been going a lot longer than your artistic Instagram page.
Yeah.
So were you working much more with sort of design and marketing before, and fashion, and when did you start becoming, start your own page as an artist?
Oh yeah.
What was
So
that progression?
so we started I See a Different You in 2011, and at that time we already had our pages. We thought it was also important for us as a crew, or as a crew, that we must also have our own voices. It's nicer when people can see that, oh, this is Fhatuwani, oh, this is Vuyo, this is Justice, this is Deji. That helps also. It helps make the I See a Different You page amazing. So we were focused in purely production and advertising work. At the time, we were trying to get into to be more corporate and be more professional. So we had to shine the light more into what I See a Different You is. And at the moment, we feel like the business and the brand is solid enough to run, that whatever we do as individuals also feeds back to what I See a Different You is. You know. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what it is.
I've always been curious also, is there a story behind the name I See a Different You?
Yeah, so myself and Neo went to Kenya years ago. When we got to Kenya, we saw this guy was super stylish, and the perception of what Kenya is to us was weird. It was bad because we thought it was a jungle or it was rural. It was not developed, and the people there wouldn't be cool. So we saw this cool guy in a motorbike, took a photo of him, sent it back to Vuyo and the guys there, and they were like, wow, okay, this is hectic, this is amazing. It's why did we think Kenya would be like that? It means also people, the same thing that we don't like people saying Soweto is only is full of crime, poverty, and struggles. It's the same mentality we had of Kenya. So we also had a bad perception of it. And we need to change perceptions of what people think of our Africa as a whole. So we came up with the name I See a Different You, because the media will always portray negative things. And we say, we see a different you. Soweto, Africa, Ghana, all of them, we see the positive in anything. There's so much negative that the media shows. We will see and portray the positive of it. So we see a different you. I See a Different You started that way.
That's amazing. I mean, that's interesting what we just mentioned about Soweto, because you really have put this image of Soweto on the map for a lot of sort of international people to
Thank
see
you.
all of the culture,
Thank you.
artistic sensibilities, music, people doing amazing things. You really do put it on the map.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And even with your artwork being so inspired by, the kids of
Yeah.
Soweto, you can see that in your paintings and in your drawings. Actually, I would like to just dive into How was it with lockdown, with you being so influenced by the outside world, by, the hustle and the bustle of Josie? How did you feel with creating through lockdown and
I
during
think
lockdown?
I'm quite thankful for the lockdown. If it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have opened this side of me. You know, obviously I was slowly opening it, but I think lockdown just sparked that fire to go, hey man, just get some pages, scale up, work on this art, get on it, because most of the time I was working on digital stuff. I was drawing on my phone, which is cool, and the drawings are amazing. I was drawing like on A4 pages. Then it just sparked on me that get on it, do it. Rather do it full on, you have nothing to lose. And that came because we had so much time. Lockdown, I had so much time in the house. I'd have like a few Zoom meetings and then I have like 16 hours at home. So the best way to use those hours is to be productive, draw, and get in touch with my soul, with my inner self, and express myself artistically. Also, I find art as a very therapeutic thing beyond getting all the likes and beautiful comments. For me, it's therapy. It was the best way for me to work this lockdown and not get it to affect me negatively, instead affect me positively.
I mean, that's interesting. Also, how are you finding it? I mean, this is quite a difficult question, but you have a very positive approach. Even your Instagram pages show sort of the positive side of Africa and everything that's wonderful about, Africa and South Africa. Are you still able to remain positive?
Yeah,
Obviously during the current times, how do you feel? Do you feel like we're going to come out of it okay? It's going to bounce back? Um,
yeah. I mean, what's happening right now is tough for everyone, and the only thing we need to have is hope and be positive. It's sad and it sucks that a lot of people are losing their loved ones. I've also lost a few people that I know as friends, but it's the vicious cycle of what life is. We have no power over this. The only power we have is to stay positive, be strong, united as Africans, and hope that this ends soon, and support each other. When a friend wants to talk to your friend. If you feel that they're down or they're not as normal as they are, check on them. So there's not much we can do but be hopeful and positive, because if we are gonna cry and be negative, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse than what it is right now. So if we have our hopes high and we hope for the best, it will eventually be better. And it's becoming better. Even though, yes, people are dying, it's becoming better.
Mm. And with your art, I mean, it obviously is, Afrocentric, so it does concentrate a lot on South African subject matter.
Yeah.
Are the people collecting your art? Are you finding they're mostly locals or mostly internationals? Just out of interest.
It's both. Hey, for the first round, most of the stuff, I think the first 20 pieces that I sold, they were bought in London and DC in America. There's another one last night they bought. She's a South African lady abroad as well. I just need to find out where exactly she is. And then there is a few local people buying, which is amazing. Some are my friends that I started advertising with, who they just go, yo, I want to buy. And I send them what I have, and they're like, cool, done. This is what I want. Another friend of mine who is South African based in LA right now bought a piece on Monday, which is cool. I mean, it's a variety of people, old and young.
That's very interesting, and obviously you have a different approach to creating art as an artist, but you also have a different approach, where a lot of artists sort of go through traditionally through the gallery space.
Yeah.
You have quite a different approach. You sort of you started your own Instagram page, you uploaded your art, you talked about it. You've now got, over 40,000 followers and people are buying your art all over the world. So it's
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
it's a very different approach. How would you, do you have any advice that you would give to artists? I think it's difficult as an artist
Yes.
sometimes to know what to do.
Yeah. I think my main advice would be, as artists, we must also take ourselves as businesses. You are a business. Your art is your business. And you can't be a business and not understand your business. You can't run a grocery store and not understand how everything works. What are the price points? How do you get the groceries, or all those things? So as artists, I find that most of artists like to neglect the important part in art, which is representing yourself, understanding what your worth is, understanding the business behind the art that you are creating. And I'm not saying everyone has to represent themselves, everyone has to be independent, but if you know what your worth is and if you know the business behind everything, you will more likely make more of your art. I'm not anti galleries. I love galleries. But if you know what your worth is, you can negotiate your terms with the gallery better. I think artists need to also treat themselves like a business. This is your 9 to 5. You must wake up, create. And when you're creating the work, it's more chances for you to make more out of it, to be seen, to blow up. Because I don't believe in, oh, I have a creative block, I'm chilling, I don't know what's happening. When you have to go to work, you don't go, I don't feel like going to work today. As artists, we have to go. Even if you have to scribble and do something that's not the best, but work through the blockage and treat yourself as a business. Understand the industry you're in, understand what your worth is, so that whenever a gallery or anyone or any entity that wants to represent you, they can see that you know what you're doing, and it can be a 50-50. You can also get out of it as much as they're getting out of you. So it's important to know the business of art. It's not just drawing and being amazing. There's business in it.
I mean, and also as an artist who sort of you direct your own sales and your own publicity
Yeah.
through Instagram. How do you find Instagram as a platform? It's obviously a very powerful platform to you as to your business and also to you as an artist.
Instagram is great. All social media platforms are great if they're used right. At the moment, I have a few chats with a few galleries. There's one gallery that I actually really dig, which I was telling you, Kalishnikov. I'll be working with them in ways where they'll be assisting me in a lot of logistic stuff. If there's shows, they'll be obviously helping me go there. Um, Also, Instagram helps brand yourself. It gives me more reach. There's so many people that DM me for my art that I've never known. I've never thought of these people follow me, and they just DM, hey, we really love your work. What? How much is this piece? And I give them the price. They're like, cool, send your details. And that is just another side of what the money income stream can come from, where it's not just the only vessel or platform where I will making my sales. I'll do joint exhibition through Kalashnikov, through CBC Gallery. I'll do exhibitions in New York, everywhere. The best thing is even my platform opens that channel to sell and connect with people.
So I've noticed that you actually have your own art gallery now. I'm very new. I saw. Could you just share some information like where is it?
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's in 44 Stanley. So the 44 Stanley guys were so amazing. They saw me post while I was working in my house, and I'm like, I think my house is gonna be trashed because I'm like painting here, my walls are gonna be messed up. And they were like, hey, dude, come check out a studio here. We have a studio for you. Literally, they gave me the studio. So it's also when you put yourself out there, people will receive you, and they will also receive you and give you what you need, because I put myself out there on social media. But yeah, it's the most amazing space right now for me. It's quite emotional because I never thought I would be living this life right now, or I would have my own studio where it's me and I can walk in there and create, and there won't be anyone disturbing me or anyone telling me what not to do. And being an artist was a dream I neglected, and I thought it would never happen or I'll never live it again. I can't believe that it's happening, and it's happening every day. I'm like, oh, okay, this is so cool. I can't believe I'm living the dream.
That's very
Congratulations.
that's
Thank you.
beautiful. Fhatuwani, and I think you're an artist to watch out for, because usually when you do something, you seem to do it quite intensely.
You're taking the world by storm.
Everything I do, I give it my all, and I work from my heart. Everything comes from my heart. If anything is coming from an honest place, it will obviously touch people. So that's what I think. People can connect with what I do because I'm honest. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not.
Beautiful. I just want to make a little bit of a statement for our listeners. Definitely keep your eye on this amazing artist, and I do see that you are working long hours, and that you're giving us the opportunity to be in your studio, because I follow your Instagram stories, and so if you're interested in watching the procedure of his art unfold, please follow.
Thank you
Follow
so
his
much.
work. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Yes, have a great one, Fhatuwani, and we hope to chat to you at some point in the future.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.